Welcome to This Week in the PNFL. I'm your host, Mark Hill, and along with me for the ride is Dean Chambers and Mitch Grawl. How you doing today, guys?
Very good.
Yeah, doing just fine.
Doing just fine. So we are in the second week of our preseason and getting things going here. And as you guys know, there's been a flurry of activity. We're going to cover some of those things. I know that we had the roster cut downs of cutting people off your practice squads. We're currently in the situation of getting all those roles transferred, going over the draft, see what players are out there for the draft this season, and looking over everyone's roster. So, with no games to review this week and talk about, we are just going to go ahead and jump into our our talking discussions. We have three topics that we're going to go through today, and one is going to be talking about the play cleanup process. You guys have been seeing a lot of flurry about that. Constant plays seems like almost every time you blink, there's a new list coming out. We're going to talk about the college team. I think we have talk about a spinoff league with 8 teams. We're going to kind of kick that around a little bit, and we're going to go talk about a post that Dean had put online in the forum related to the rules and the vote. So we are just going to go ahead and jump right into those items and see what the guys have to say, and hopefully we have some information we can give out to you guys. So let's go ahead and jump into the most busy thing we have going on right now are the play cleanup process. There's been a lot of discussion about that. Plays coming out. I know that Charlie had mentioned if anyone wanted to have a discussion about those plays and comment about them, try to appeal the changes. He said don't. So his word is final. So um, it's kind of nice having these two guys here because one likes to design the plays, the other one's like to analyze the plays. So we're going to start off with Dean in the conversation about the play cleanup, and then we will talk to the person who analyzed them. So, Dean, uh, what's going on with these plays here?
Yeah, the first thing I want to say, and I want folks to be clear about this, and to a larger extent defend Charlie here. Um, we're not cleaning up a bunch of plays that were. It wasn't like Charlie overlooked a lot of plays that were illegal, and then we're cleaning them up. Um, I don't think he's allowed that many plays that were illegal at the time. But what we are dealing with here is we're dealing with most of the plays that were cleaned up either had bump issues or they had issues with lacking 3 men defending the line of scrimmage. And the reason for this is there were some old plays. I know it was a while ago that the current rules on bump and run defense were put in place, but there were some old plays that were submitted before those rules that still had 5 men bumping without the half-second stop and wait, or they had bumping backfield or bumping either, or these various things. So those are old plays that we've kind of caught up on. It was a few seasons ago when the changes were put in place regarding the 2 defensive line plays, and it turned out that some of the 3 defensive line plays kind of mirrored the logic of those, and they did not have 3 men defending the line of scrimmage. So there were a number of old plays in that area. I don't know that there were that many actual new plays that weren't in compliance with that rule that were submitted and approved after that. But there were a number of plays, including some that I created, some others created. And, there were legal plays at the time they were submitted, and the rules have been changed and for a variety of reasons to make the gameplay a little bit more realistic and make defense and offense a bit more balanced. So the cleanup process is where these plays have been reviewed and where they're found to be they were kind of grandfathered in at the time, which I personally think was kind of a mistake. So the review process is a matter of fixing these plays, making them legal to our current rules. But here's why I think it's extremely important, and I'm glad that we are doing this cleanup, is because if any of these plays that either had bump issues that are not allowed now or not defending three men of the line of scrimmage are grandfathered and left to be used, if they have an advantage over offense, they'll kind of get stuck in our playbooks because everyone will want to use the plays that give them the best chance of winning games. So it will end up being an impediment to new play creation and innovation because these old plays will be stuck in there and new plays will not be able to compete with them. The other problem it presents is that a lot of times folks will find old plays that are effective and do a variation of that. And, you know, you can call that cloning or semi-cloning or whatever you want to call it. Submit them as new plays or submit variations. Well, that ended up creating kind of a headache that I'm sure Charlie didn't want to deal with either. And that is to be receiving new plays that have, you know, illegal bump issues or, you know, that lack three men defending the line of scrimmage or whatever, and either having to reject those or having to bounce them back and ask the coach submitting them, you know, your play doesn't have three men defending the line of scrimmage, or you're bumping a backfield guy, or you're bumping a fourth defender without the half-second stop and wait. So we clean up all the plays, and people will look to older plays for ideas on new plays or whatever, even if they're not really cloning or semi-cloning, but even just using a play as a basis for creating a new play. You load a play, make changes in it, make it something totally different. It works. It's going to decrease. So overall, I think it would be more conducive to new play creation, innovation, and play design, and balance between offense and defense. And yeah, in the process, we've also found a few plays that are problematic on offense, and those are being fixed and cleaned up as well. So overall, it's going to improve the quality of our game, improve the quality of our plays, and also give us opportunities to develop new plays. And some of us always want to be doing that as well. What do you two think?
Let's go to the analyzer first. Mitch, what do you have to take on this?
I think all that just reminded me why I don't design a lot of plays, because there's too many rules to keep up with that. I think my brain only has enough space to keep up with the profile rules. And so, end of the day, one of the things that I have mentioned, not as much as I have talked about the want or the desire to have more differentiation in ratings for players, but I have brought up on occasion, the need for some more differentiation between the play types, and maybe to get to feel more like what the VPNFL rules look like for the different play types. And I think some of these cleanups and some of the stuff that was brought up on the forum that Steve was talking about, which we'll get to I think in a few minutes. I think will help that, where at least there's some or more distinct differentiation between the play types and the play categories. So so be it. I think that's always a good thing, but I for myself and others that are probably like me, we're probably like, all right, y'all just give us the approved plays, and we're going to figure out how we build them into our game plan. So that's, that I guess that's where my head's at. But anything we could do to make the plays or the players fit within the guidelines that we have set now, so that's less confusion. All for it. So good stuff. Thanks for all who have put the time and effort into doing it.
I do have one quick comment. I know, if I remember right, I know, Mitch, you've been kind of critical of some of our plays, especially in defense, where there's a tendency to have like 5 or 6 or 7 defensive backs on a play and mostly cornerbacks. Yeah. So you'll be glad to know that some of the new defenses I'm working on, and they'll be submitted in the offseason and the coming season, are generally going to feature at least 2 linebackers and I think pretty much in all cases at least 2 safeties. So they're going to be nice plays loaded with lots and lots of cornerbacks, believe it or not. Yeah. And they're actually effective.
Well, no, good. Well, and here's the thing, I have made some comments on those things. You're right. But I'll say this: I guess it's more I've been critical when it's the plays that are in those run left, run middle categories. That all right, golly, we got three down linemen and we have eight cornerbacks. And this is supposed to be a run middle play. This makes no sense. And so so yeah, but on a pass medium or pass short or pass long, I wouldn't be as critical or gripe with that. It just helps differentiate a little bit between not only the oh gosh the usage of the players, but the personnel, which honestly that just goes back to my own bias of how I've interpreted the old VP NFL, which maybe I just need to get over the fact that this isn't the VP NFL, is the PNFL. But anyway, that's it.
I mean, you can create good run middle plays doing with three defensive linemen, three linebackers, and that's six, two safeties, and three cornerbacks. You can still create very good plays from that formation, especially like in run middle, definitely run right, pass short.
Yeah. So I was hoping to be able to create a goal line run play with 8 defensive tackles, if that was possible. But
I don't think you have 8 defensive tackles in your roster.
well, I would keep 8 if we could do that. But just like I'd love to have 5 tight ends in my offense too. But
Actually, I think there is a San Francisco goal line player with. I think there is a San Francisco goal line player, a couple of them that actually have 5 defensive linemen.
Yes, there is, and it's very effective, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Well, my take on this, as far as with the plays, as Mitch tends to remind me quite often that I'm not really that great at making plays. There's one play in particular that he really, really enjoys ribbing me on every so often.
Yeah.
So
I encourage everyone to avoid the run middle SE27 toss play. I highly encourage you all to
see,
avoid
he
that.
even has it. He has it memorized. So that, what does that tell you guys? Yeah, he has that play memorized. So
unless you're looking to lose yardage every time you run the ball, I would avoid that play.
It's picking up yardage. Okay, I didn't say it was positive or negative yardage. It gets yardage.
You need to revise that play and make it the best top sweep play in the entire playbook, and then run it 30 times next time you play him.
There you go.
I hope you run that play 30 times.
It'll be the remix of it. So yeah.
Yeah. If you ran that play 20 times against me, I would you'd have negative total yardage. Anyway, back to you, Mark.
Anyway, what I was trying to say before I just got Mitch on his little happy train. I've been in leagues in the past where you can have various success in making plays, and what I found out is that, especially in this league, anyone can design a play, and it can meet all the rules, but then when you try to scrimmage with that play, if that play doesn't work out or it's just a terrible play, you got to do a lot of things to kind of tweak it and get it to go to make it do what you want it to do. So I think it's nice that we go through there and we kind of scrub them every season to see which ones are out there that they no longer need. No one's ran them for a while. I think they run a test to see how many times that play was called within the past couple seasons. If it hasn't been used, why keep it? Dump it. Also, trying to figure out, the alignment of the players, placement of the players, make sure they meet all the rules. There's a lot that goes to it than just simply dropping a center, 2 guards, 2 tackles, couple receivers, quarterback, running back, boom, let it run. So I think it's a good thing to go through. I mean, it's a hard process to go through, and I think overall it's better for the game. I think it kind of goes back to one of the shows we did earlier where it's like Mitch had stated in that show, is like, with all things being equal, all the players' attributes are pretty much the same, so it comes down to the plays. So you got to make sure you get the right plays picked out. You got to make sure there's no AI busting plays out there, and then you proceed from there. So it's a daunting task, and I know some people don't like it, especially if you took the time to design your play, or if you had that one favorite play that you ran last season or the season before, and now it's gone or has been modified. So, um, overall, I think it's going to be better for the game. It kind of keeps it, everything pretty much even, with the exception of how good are you at strategizing and picking the right plays to be ran at the right time. So, um, you guys agree, disagree, add to it?
Yeah, I think you're right. And the one thing that was a potential concern, and that was those who designed the plays, being asked to revise the plays and so on. And I thought that could potentially be a major issue. But as far as I can tell, things went fairly smooth. I know in my instance, in the case of my stuff, as soon as I became aware that it was really important to do this, and I volunteered to revise all of my plays and bring them up to the standard of these rules. And I've revised several of them, submitted them to Charlie, and others have as well. And I don't know if there are any left to be revised, but um, it's definitely going to make things go a lot more smoothly going forward. And like I said, I think it will facilitate further innovation and creating new plays, and that will, of course, be legal under these current rules. So I think it'd be a good thing long term. It just happened to be this off season. I guess we had to bite the bullet and get it done, but I think it's better that we did rather than kick the can down the road, which would have been easy to do. Which say, well, these old plays, they'll just kind of fade out over time. I think the problem is they wouldn't have faded out.
Right.
So it's good that we address it.
All right, Mitch, you got anything?
I'll just add that since I made everyone aware of that SE27 toss play,
Boy, he is not letting that one go, huh, Dean?
Yeah, I'll just warn everyone too. I don't know if these are plays that Mox designed or if they were somebody else who was New England at some point. But be aware of any pass plays that have an NE in front of them. There, that's my other warning. I'll just say that. So.
Oh, okay. So when are we going to see some KC plays out there?
Told you, I've got a few, but I got a few AF plays, a few KC plays, a couple of Oakland plays, but I pick my spots for very specific situations.
All right. All right. Moving on to our second topic that we have here. Um, the next one that we're going to discuss is, we mentioned, I think Mitch had mentioned something pre-show about the college league, something to kind of fill the void in between with 8 teams going in, and just want to talk a little bit more about that and see how that would kind of work out within what we do as far as within our leagues. I mentioned to Mitch earlier and Dean earlier about maybe having some of those players get transferred in to our next draft or to our PNFL draft. They kind of chuckled and said, how would that happen?" But just want to kind of get your guys' take on it and kind of share with the rest of the league um, an idea or a vision for this. So for this topic, we're going to have Mitch start off on it.
No, I'd be happy to. No, obviously this wasn't my idea. Actually, now that I just kind of flamed Mox a few seconds ago, I'll say that it was kind of his idea that he posted on the forum around maybe having an alternative league, etc. And so I know a few of us posted here this evening. We're taping here on Thursday night about hey, what if we did maybe a college, maybe use college teams or something where. Or maybe some other version where basically we can play it during the off season of the PNFL and make it very easy, very simple roster management. Where maybe no trades and all that business. Where we really could just use it as a kind of a pastime within the off season, but really can also use it to experiment with some PPPs and different things. And still have competitive fun. So, granted, someone would have to take on the commissioner duties to help organize it, and I know not everybody would be interested. So, if we had a 8, 10, or 12 league, little, team league, depending on how many people actually wanted to, partake in it during the off season, I think it'd be kind of cool. It wouldn't over consume us, where we, wouldn't be able to handle our PNFL off-season requirements, but would keep some of us who probably drive the rest of you crazy wanting to move to off-season faster. Keep us on a longer leash, and so yeah, y'all can take your good old time getting all your stuff in. So
So
anyway,
how many
but no,
games? How many games do you
anyway,
want in there?
I mean, well, if we had 8 or 10 teams, I don't even know what would it be, like, what, 12 games or something like that, probably. So I don't know. So you know, I think Dean, you'd actually posted, maybe we start, like week 16 of the PNFL season and kind of play through the, playoffs and the off season. Heck, that's about 3 months usually when you kind of tackle that in. So,
Right. If we,
so yeah, so I mean, I think, it could be done in a smart way, but I don't think again we wouldn't have all 18 coaches interested. I'm almost confident in that, but we probably have, 8 or 10 at least that would want to tinker with it. So anyway,
if we did this as like a 10 or 12 team college league, which and ran it primarily in the off season as so as discussed on the forum, which team would you take?
oh, I would be Georgia. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, as I'm standing here looking at my, my Georgia, helmet and my autographed Herschel Walker picture and the picture of Uga trying to bite the Auburn player. Yeah, I would definitely be Georgia. Yeah.
And Justin said he would take the Florida Gators. I would take the Tennessee Volunteers. Is
Texas
there anyone that would take
Longhorns.
Alabama? We got to put together at least the core of the SEC at least.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
league.
I would
So,
take the Longhorns. So they're coming. They're coming to disrupt
Yeah.
the SEC anyway. So
that's right.
Yeah.
So we'd be able to, and if James joined, I suspect he would take Michigan, and I don't know if there's someone out there that wants to take Ohio State. We'd have to have them in the league.
Yeah.
And what's
or
that?
someone that would pick A&M. Yeah.
I think isn't Matt an Arkansas fan? So he'd probably be Arkansas if he played. He'd be Arkansas. So
Yeah, that would work.
but yeah, but what do you call it? Again, not an over serious. Hey, we need a whatever, but just something kind of as a pastime, but a little bit of a different spin on it during the off season. I think college would be fun. Either college or just kind of what do you call it, fantasy team or something like that. But I think using the college teams would be fun, and just what players maybe only are eligible for 5 seasons, and you draft and recruit them, no trades and all that stuff. So roster management would be pretty simple, and like I said, just be more designed for fun and PPP
And
experimenting. Yeah.
I think it should be much more balanced. The ratings, not like you said in the forum, not have those those blue chip monster players, because when they get accumulated on a handful of teams, you end up having like 98-0 type scores, which that gets a little beyond what's fun.
Well, that would only be if Georgia played Texas. Apparently, if Mark's Texas. So.
Oh yeah, I got to have an Aggie guy out there. So either that
Yeah.
or Oklahoma.
But yeah, but no, I mean, like I said, I'd be interested in being a part of it. As long as it would be in the off season, I would not want to try to, I wouldn't find it as fun to do during the actual PNFL season because of how much
I
time
think
we put into it. So.
with more people involved in it than the old XFBS. A lot of people didn't join because they want to coach two teams at the same time. But if this is during the off season where most of the games would be played during the off season at most. And if it's like 12 teams, I don't know about the exact format, but I would think it's 12 teams. You could just do like a simple 14 playoff at the end, basically 2 rounds.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's on the forum. So if those listening have not gone out there and seen that yet, so go take a look at it. I know, you know, but let's see, kind of see where it goes. Of course, it's not going to go anywhere if anyone doesn't want to take on the commission duties of doing it. But I think we could get enough interest for a, I call it the off-season pastime league. So.
Hmm. That definitely sounds promising. So you'd start it on week 16, actually week 17, because that's when the playoffs start, the wild card game. So you have your wild card game, championship game, no wild card game, division championships, Super Bowl, and then your off season. So yeah, that definitely well, that has some potential there.
Usually our off season's at least 2 months. So,
Yeah.
then you have almost a month of playoffs. So, like I said, if we don't make it too if we don't make it too complicated other than having to have a initial probably some sort of initial what do you call it, draft, or heck, just the commissioner just give us just go in and give us a random teams or something. I think we could get things rolling without a whole lot of extra time. And like I said, for me, it would be more of just fun and experimenting with some PPP stuff. Um, so
Even if the first 2 or 3 weeks of this league would overlap with PNFL playoffs, the teams that are in the PNFL playoffs could just simply submit their same PPPs to this other league, so they're not doing 2 sets. I
Right.
mean, generally they're going to be developing really good PPPs for the playoff games, but those teams that are out of the playoffs could then just switch their focus more to that.
yeah, so
That definitely has a potential there.
The next
So
season, if we do this, no one would have any excuses for being bored.
yeah,
Mitch,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I
Mitch.
mean.
Okay.
I know, that's what I mean. It would
So
keep
so that
people
would
like
that make
me
would that so would that make
occupied.
you the
'Cause,
commissioner, Mitch?
well, no, because I'm not going to run a league. Are you crazy? You imagine if I was in charge of a league, y'all all quit by the second week.
Probably.
I did. I'd end up wanting to have three sims a week or something. So anyway,
Yeah, that
but
sounds
no,
about right.
yeah. But no, so that's what's on the forum. Go check it out. Um, you know, and we'll see where it goes. But like I said, I'll give Mox credit for bringing it up. So I think it's a good idea. Maybe Mox, since he's New England, maybe he'd be Boston. Well, no, they're ACC. I said maybe he'd be Boston College. I don't. So.
He could if he wants to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, we're going to have like mostly SEC and Big Ten teams and a couple others.
Well, pretty much college football now, everyone is either in the SEC or the Big Ten.
Yeah, pretty much. I think
I
yeah,
think two-thirds
Pac-10
of the
Pac-10's pretty much done.
2/3 of the teams are in the SEC and Pac-10 now. I think,
Yeah.
other than Colorado, they're the Big 12.
No,
So it's like
Pac-10 or Pac-10 they're gone. Big
well, the
12
Pac-10, the
Big 12's
Pac-10
going
is
to
now
be
the
gone.
Pac-4. Yeah,
Yeah. So,
they're the Pac-4.
It looks like they're packing it in.
yeah.
No.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our last portion we were having a discussion about. And this last one, we're going to have Dean start off. This is about Dean's latest, his most recent forum post related to the rules and to the vote. So we're going to go ahead and have Dean start off on this. For those that don't know, have him go into what his post was and kind of give a little bit of understanding on it and his viewpoint on that, and then we'll have Mitch follow after. So to lead this last segment off, we are going to start with Dean.
Yes, we've seen we've seen how this process that Steve put this vote up on doing kind of a cleanup of some of the rules to make them a bit less confusing. Now, I don't know if this was something he did on his own or if this was something he discussed. I don't know. I'm not saying either way with Charlie and Rich and Jerry, and whether it was, I don't know if the vote there was unofficial or sanctioned by the league. But it's interesting. We all, number of us voted, and it appears to have passed, and now there's some uncertainty about whether or not it did pass, it didn't pass, and whether that's going to lead to changes in the rules. And, I've seen, as many others have, we've had discussions in the off season in the past about different possible ideas or rules or other ideas. And a lot of times we had discussion and it doesn't really materialize in anything. And so what I propose, and I think this is a kind of balanced proposal that doesn't, I think it reflects that all of us as owners want to have some voice in the process, and two, that we want to have a process where good ideas ultimately get voted on, and ideas that maybe don't have much support don't. And then ultimately, respects the, the role of our league officers and what they do. And it's not a matter of anyone gaining or losing any power, but I think just the way that we can facilitate having a process to discuss and then ultimately change or not change rules or whatever. And, one thing we don't want to do is have a million ideas being voted on. That wouldn't make any sense. We're not a legislative body where we're considering 8,000 different changes to the rules. I mean, we want to primarily play football and not spend any significant amount of time discussing, debating rules. So what I posted on the forum was a suggestion that, like, the first 3 weeks of the off season, we have a session in the forum that would be rules discussion, where any ideas people have, like the ideas that have been discussed, would be put in that forum, and it would just be open discussion. And then there would be, if this was adopted, a separate section of the forum on rules vote, just like we have the two sections on trading, where we have trade talk and then we have actual trades. Here we'd have rules discussion and then actual votes on discussion. So the way I propose it would happen is that Charlie and Rich and Jerry would, after that 3-week discussion, would take place during the off season. So after 3 weeks of discussion, if there's any ideas for new rules or changing rules that anyone can suggest something in the forum during that discussion period. So after that 3 weeks of discussion, Charlie and Rich and Jerry would look at that and see if there's any concrete ideas that they could, that might, be worth considering and actually voting on. And then they would decide what gets voted on, draft the actual concrete proposal that would be voted on, and then they would place that in the voting section, the rules voting section. And then a certain period of time after that, once they would put that up, so they would decide what's being voted on based on our discussion. And then that's where, an actual, concrete proposal would be put up, and they would put that up, and then we would all vote on it. And if something received 10 votes, it would basically be passed. But we wouldn't just be voting on anything or any old ideas. Each off season there might be possibly none, but maybe one or two ideas that get a lot of support and come out of that discussion, and then league officers would put that up for a vote and then decide, we'd all decide whether it passes or not. And something I suggest would require to have 10 votes to pass. That way, it's not a minority of the coaches in the league making a decision over something. It's at least a majority. And then, but at least it would put a process in place where this would come about. And I think team owners would be willing to discuss and come up with ideas if they believe that the discussion and the ideas would produce something of value. If there's, again, enough belief that something needs to be changed, then, and the league officers thought that that's something that's worth considering, then ultimately they would decide to put up for a vote, and then, we could all vote it up, vote it down, or whatever the case is. but it would just kind of put in place a structure rather than just having discussions that people think aren't going to go anywhere. And again, I think what Steve did with this vote situation is kind of a sort of a model for that. And I don't know if that was something that he was officially asked to do or kind of did on his own, but that's kind of when I looked at the whole process and thought, this is probably something that we should to some degree do, and of course strictly during the off season, and that we should have a process for doing this. What do you all think?
What do you think about it, Mitch?
I think the election was stolen. We
Oh
put
my
the votes
God.
in.
Here we
got
go.
9
Here
votes,
we go.
and now they let. No, I'm kidding. No, I think
Asking for 11,780.
yeah. I mean, we've got the laptop, and now you're throwing out our votes. But anyway.
Yeah, where's the server at?
Yeah, but anyhow, all those 30,000 emails. But, Jerry had 30,000 emails that he erased. No, all kidding aside. No, I think I think having a process around that is good. Ultimately, and like I said, this is more just coming because of the. I think we had like 54 posts or something, or 35 or something posts for that for this recent vote thing we were just doing. I think we just need to be sure that before we go through and try to tally votes and all this kind of stuff, that honestly we need to wait for Charlie to chime in to say, hey, all right, hey guys, let's take a vote on this before we put all the extra energy and focus into it. I like the idea of let's have a I don't know, ideas forum or I don't know, something where people can put, hey, here's an idea, here's a proposal, and people can chime in on it, but ultimately, Charlie, Rich, Jerry can decide, all right, is this something we want to make an executive order and just put into play, or is this something we put to this vote, or is this just something that we don't even, it's not even worth the time to move it forward. So that I mean that'd be the only thing.
So they can decide what's important enough to put up for a vote and where they should be put up for a vote, and then once they do, it's an actual official vote. And I mean, this situation, I don't know if this was an official vote or non-official, or if it was like one of the polls that you put up. It was unclear, but in this case, if this what I suggested is done, then the 3 league officers, they would decide what gets put up for a vote, and when something is important enough to warrant that, then they would be the only ones that have the permissions to set up a vote in the actual voting section, and then we can vote on it.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
I mean, I think the proposal that was put up, by Steve, I think was, and I commented, hey, I think this is something we should definitely, consider or look at, because I think it makes some sense, kind of clean up the rules, make a full things there. But you could have somebody. I could come up and put a thing. Hey guys, I think we should all use color rush uniforms on the 3rd and 6th week of the season. Make it mandatory. No, we're not going to put that to a vote. So it's so I think that before we do like I said, start trying to tally stuff up, or get too far down the road with things that, all right, league officers, is this something that y'all even want to get the full league's consensus on or not? And also too, I like the idea of kind of having a super majority, not a unanimous vote, because you ain't gonna get anybody to agree on everything, but a little bit of a super majority where
3/4 of the coaches.
Well,
18 is an absolute majority, but it's a reasonable number. And if something gets 10 votes for it and only 3 opposed, it passes. But if something gets like 8 votes in favor and 2 opposed and everyone else abstains, well, it doesn't have enough support to pass.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean, because usually you can't get everybody to vote, but you still need to have at least 10 people. So, you have 16 people vote, you still would probably need to have. I think you still have to have at least 10 vote for it. So. But anyway, but yeah, having a little bit more of a structure to it, so people don't feel like, my goodness. I think like to Sean's point in the email, like, all right, we've got like 15 people voted for something, and now we're being told that, well, I'm just gonna leave it alone. So what was the point of all this? So I get to see how people might feel that way. So,
Well, that's something to think about. As you were sitting there talking, I'm thinking that'd be kind of cool. We have, for a coach that want to participate, have one game where they can have rush colors. That'd be kind of cool. Just to see
well,
how.
technically, you could do that now. It's just not mandatory.
Mm,
If you want to change your colors every week, it would drive Rich crazy. But I think you could turn it in. And I know that Justin seems to change his team uniforms quite a bit during the season. So.
yeah. So
Yeah, you could have the Seahawks in that awful
lime
highlight
green.
pin that awful highlight pin color. So
I'd go back to the classic, the original Seahawk colors. That's what I would go back to. That's what I like.
yeah, I like
You
those.
say that around here, I think you might get yourself in a little trouble.
Do I now?
You
I
see
like
the
those.
color around here.
I like the original Seahawks.
Yes.
Bring back Zorn and Largent.
Zorn, Largent,
Yeah.
Warren, yeah.
Nash.
Kennedy,
Yeah.
Nash. You can keep Bosworth. Don't want Bosworth. You can keep him. We're good.
Bring
Okay.
back Bosworth.
Nope.
What do you call it?
Yeah,
Santos
and have
might bring back
have Bo
He
Jackson.
might bring back Bo Jackson.
Yeah, and have
like,
Bo Jackson plow through him again. Nah, we're good. We're good. Keep him. All
anyway.
right, we're coming to close this. Yeah, we're gonna come to wrap this thing up. We put some good time in here. So just hoping you guys kind of enjoy the things that we were sitting here talking about. Obviously, we're in the off season, so definitely if you haven't taken a look at the forum page, take a look at the forum page and see what has been posted up there. And also, if you guys have any ideas, put them up there as well. I will go ahead and speak on Mitch's behalf because I know I haven't completed it yet. Get your numbers in if you want to transfer your roles coming up. Go ahead and get that taken care of so that can get
I think we're up to
processed.
13 as of what time is it? 9:35 Eastern on
Yeah.
Thursday
On
night.
Thursday night. So let's try to get those things in. I'm one of them, so I'm aware of that, and I've been hearing it from Mitch. So we gotta keep Mitch happy because you guys have seen him. He's been pecking on you guys, knocking on doors. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. So. But as we come to wrap this up, any final words you have over there, Dean?
No, just keep going with the off season, and as we all prepare for the draft and working on game plans and stuff for the coming season, and possibly working on some trade agreements, and trading will be open soon, I suspect.
All right.
It's pretty much going on.
Yep. All right. Any final words you got over there, Mitch, before you take us home?
Yeah. Well, just so y'all know, Dean does not like the buy now price for the number 10 pick, so it is still available. But all kidding aside, let's have some fun and get all of our stuff taken care of, and let's get it.